Hi everyone, this is Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to be sharing with you this illustrative floral wedding card design showcasing the Spellbinders Glimmer of the Month for July 2020. I am pairing this with some of my wedding season collection dies and glimmer plates for a truly elegant wedding themed card. I love gold and cream together, and so I really went elegant with this wedding design today. Also this month from Spellbinders, they released the really awesome Nestabilities Essential Label Etch dies, which work perfectly with the Glimmer of the Month, or you can use them on their own. So it's just another fantastic product, part of their Essentials line. I like to kind of lay out my product prior to getting started. This gives me an idea if everything's going to kind of work together and fit the way I think or I'm imagining in my mind that it's going to do. In this case, we have the wedding tux and dress, and we're going to layer the happily ever after sentiment in the center of our card or our frame panel. Let's start with the Spellbinders Glimmer of the Month Illustrative Floral. There are actually 3 different sized frames in this Glimmer collection, plus a few extra little pieces. I am going to be using the largest frame for my card today. I glimmered it with the polished brass foil that comes with the kit. And you can see I have a little overfoiling in a few places. Most of those are probably not going to show when I die cut it, but just in case, I went over this with a sand eraser to remove some of those little areas where there's overfoiling. And I'm even going over the foiled design, but be really careful with that because you don't want to erase away the foil that you want there. Next, I am going to take my dies here. These are the Nestabilities Essential Label Etch dies, and we're going to use both the large frame and then the next frame smaller than this. So it's actually frames, and then there's the like little holes. So it's kind of, there's going to be one in between each. I hope that makes sense. So it's a really great die collection so that will die cut the label shape and then also the label shape with little punched out holes. Let's go ahead and run that through our die cutting machine. And that's going to create this beautiful illustrative floral frame for our card. Now, I originally die cut some gold mirror cardstock to use back behind the wedding dress and tux, and it was not working for me. Way too shiny, I guess I want to say. It's just a little too over the top. I would rather save that gold foil for my sentiment. So I really had to kind of take a step back and think about what I wanted to use instead. And I actually came back the next day and decided to use some of this really pretty kind of muted gold cardstock. And I'm also going to use that for the background, which I've trimmed to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches and embossed the background with the Love Stripes embossing folder from Fun Stamper's Journey. That's going to be embossed, and really you're only going to see that around the edges, which is totally fine. It gives a nice little bit of texture to the edge of the card so it's not quite so plain. And then back behind the wedding dress and tux, I'm actually going to just leave a solid piece that I've die cut with that same label shape die. Let's go ahead and adhere that to our card background. And I'm going to wait to add my frame to my design until after I have glued down the dress and tux, simply because some of this needs to be tucked under the frame, and I have already backed the frame with foam adhesive. This is the wedding dress and tux from my Spellbinders Wedding Season collection. I love this set. So amazing. The detail on it is incredible. We're going to start with the skirt of the dress, and I am actually die cutting some of this from a shimmery white cardstock, the skirt and the top of the dress, but then I've also die cut the skirt portion from vellum, which I'm going to be layering over the top, and only up at the top. It's going to leave the bottom free since this is vellum and it's very tricky to hide adhesive. We're just going to secure it up at the top, which you'll see here in a minute. I opted to use double-sided adhesive today. I have been using liquid adhesive when I've been assembling these pieces, any of the last cards I've created with these, and while it works fine, I wanted a little bit more freedom to move things around, I guess I want to say. So most of the pieces are attached with this really thin 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive, and I'm going to assemble the tucks and the dress, but then some of the smaller pieces like the lapels on the jacket and the collars on the shirt and the bow tie and the little teeny tiny boutonniere, that's all going to be attached with liquid adhesive. So kind of whatever works best for you. Definitely not a right or wrong here. Whatever you need to do to make this come together. I just found this worked really, really easy. In the past, I have found putting the shirt piece back behind the jacket has been difficult. And when I've used liquid adhesive, because I've gotten too close to the edge and it's hard to tuck underneath. So this worked really well for this little piece right here. And this is almost all adhered. We'll finish with the finishing details in a bit. There's that little bit of tape along the dress. Now there is a little layering piece for the dress that I will glue down with liquid adhesive that disguises that adhesive that I used. So let's use a little liquid glue for the shirt collar and the bow tie. I'm using an embellishment wand to easily pick up all these teeny tiny little pieces and pop them in place. I'm not going to worry about embellishing the buttons on the jacket, and I'll tell you why as soon as I get to adding my sentiment. It's going to, I usually like to use like little pearls or little gems, and I'm going to be layering my sentiment over this, which is going to really hide that part of the jacket, and I don't need to add them then since it would just add additional bulk. I did pop up my frame with foam adhesive. I want to get that lined up, so I'm kind of trying to go a little slow. And look how beautiful that decorative frame just perfectly frames up the wedding dress and tux. I'm adding that little piece to the dress, which hides my adhesive for the vellum part of the skirt. And then the little bow tie, the lapels on the jacket. That's really pretty much it for the wedding dress and tux, with the exception of the boutonniere. I'm going to die cut all my flowers here in just a second, so we'll save that for finishing details. Off camera, I've also gone ahead and die cut my Happily Ever After sentiment from some gold mirror cardstock that I have adhered to Fun Foam with Stick It adhesive. This is going to make it sticky and make it dimensional, so it makes it a dimensional sticker. We're going to layer this kind of over the wedding dress and tux at an angle, and the gold mirror really sets off the rest of the design perfectly. Don't be afraid to add a sentiment over your images like this, because I think you still totally get the look and the feel of the wedding dress and tux. You get the whole wedding vibe, if you will. It just gives you a perfect place for a gorgeous sentiment. I just love the font here for Happily Ever After. By placing it at an angle as well, it gives you a little bit of more wiggle room if you don't get it adhered exactly straight. I'm using the Spellbinders Tool-in-One to poke out any of those little pieces in the letters that are sticking. And you can definitely use this illustrative frame with lots of different scenes. Consider just doing a nice large sentiment in the center. Maybe you've got the large die of the month for July, and you want to spell out a word with the alphabet dies that come with that. They work great with these frames. Any size of them, actually. You could do other flower dies that you have from Spellbinders and create birthday cards, anniversary cards, hello cards, miss you cards, sympathy cards. A really versatile Glimmer of the Month set that works so beautifully. And I even think if you wanted to color in the little flowers and things around the border with some markers, that would be a really pretty look as well. We almost have our sentiment in place. And then we're going to be ready to do all of the finishing details. So one of the main finishing details that I have here is actually finishing the sentiment. I have happily ever after, but I want to add the phrase they lived. So it'll read they lived happily ever after. The glimmering wedding wishes is perfect for this. So I'm going to glimmer that little phrase using a scrap of my gold foil from the frame. And we're going to foil that on some of this Banana Cream Fun Stampers Journey cardstock. And then trim it into a thin strip that we can then adhere to our card with foam adhesive. And I accidentally used too long of a strip of foam adhesive. Part of my strip is going to overlap that L in the word happily, which is already popped up with foam adhesive. So we don't want to have that kind of have a funny lumpy look. I'm just going to peel back part of that and trim it off, and then put liquid adhesive behind the end of that phrase to hold it down in place on my card. Look how pretty that is. Finally, I thought the card was not complete without the addition of some flowers. So we're going to be using some of the flowers and leaves from the Mr. and Mrs. Wedding Cake set. This is also from my wedding season collection. And I have die cut the leaves from the Gold Mirror cardstock and the flowers all from Banana Cream. So kind of a very tone on tone. We're going to give the flowers a little texture. You'll see what I mean here. I am using the Spellbinders self-healing matte, but if you flip it over to the other side, it's foam. So you can take the stylus tip on your Tool-in-One and really give your flowers some beautiful shape. So let's flip that mat over really quick to the foam side. And mine is well loved. It's got some glue stains and things on it, but we're going to just press the stylus tip into those flowers and give them a little shape before gluing them both to the top and the bottom of the frame. This is just kind of framing up even more the design in the center of the card. We're going to have a trio of flowers at the top and the bottom, and then some gold leaves sticking out either side. So kind of the little double leaf design, one on each side, and then a single leaf tucked in somewhere on each side as well. One of the flowers I layered with 2 layers. The others, I just left a single layer, and we're going to add a really pretty gold gem to the center of those to finish it off and add just a touch of sparkle. It'll really make those flowers pop. I'm using just that little bit of liquid glue, my embellishment wand to easily pick those up and pop them in place. Craft tweezers make holding on to teeny tiny little pieces like these leaves really easy. So you can hold on to them with the tweezers, add your glue, and then kind of tuck them into place. And it helps me at least keep my fingers out of the glue, because otherwise I'm usually a gluey mess. Look how pretty that little flower cluster looks. So here I'm going to take that stylus tip and let's just go ahead and give all of our remaining flowers some shape. And then we're going to quickly add little dabs of glue, pop our flowers up here. And the addition of something as simple as flowers, the little flower arches, just really, again, adds to the elegance of the design. I did add the little flower and gold leaf boutonniere to the lapel of the tux. I don't know if I did that on camera or not, but that is added as well, just kind of finishes off our wedding dress and tux. Then I'm going to take those Pretty Pink Posh metallic gold sparkly little gems, and I'm using the smallest ones from the pack for all of the flowers. The big ones I felt like were just a little too big for this size of flower, and we're going to pop a little one into the center of each to finish off our card. So we're going to want to add a little dab of glue, pick up each of the little gems with our embellishment wand. Again, it helps keep your fingers out of the glue, and then just pop them in place. And if you don't add quite enough glue, you can add a little bit more. It will dry clear. But look at what a difference those gold gems make in the center of each of those flowers. I just love how beautifully elegant this wedding card turned out, with the addition of the gorgeous illustrative floral frame from the Spellbinders July 2020 Glimmer of the Month Club Kit. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this glimmered and die cut card featuring Spellbinders, dies, and the Glimmer of the Month Club Kit. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Spellbinders Club Kits that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.